Hey, all you recovering emo kids, Amanda and Rob here with the Emo Kids Anonymous podcast. And on
Hi.
today's episode, we are very excited because we are interviewing Gabe Woodrow out of Maryland. And we're going to be talking about his touring with the early November, his motocross days. We have, a lot of just great talk about, his acoustic stuff and building community and building a fan base and the lessons he learned along the way. So, and of course, how the East Coast music is better than West Coast music. I'm sure
We don't need to talk about anything like that.
the fact that Philadelphia comes up in this conversation you guys are about to hear so many times, I think might have triggered PTSD for Rob.
I'm having a
Like,
hard
all
time
good.
here. Having a hard time. Before we dive in here, before you have to watch me just twitch out at the mere mention of Philadelphia, do us a favor for me, for the West Coast, for the East Coast, for the Middle West, the Middle East, the South, the North, everyone in between. Toss us a follow, toss us a like, subscribe,
Yep.
prescribe. We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You're probably watching us on one of these. Be really cool if you want to subscribe. And the other ones, even if you don't listen to it on there, the subscribers help. Leave us a review, leave us comments. Do engagement. Engagement isn't just something between a man and a wife, or a man and a man, or a wife and a wife, or whatever thing. Engagement is also a thing when you leave comments and you like posts and you share them with your pals. So give us that kind of engagement, please. I appreciate it. That being said, this interview with Gabe is awesome. Legitimately wish I could hang out with this dude if he wasn't so far away. Blown away by it. You're going to be stoked to hear about his connections with, third wave emo, that scene, his upbringing as a motocross rider and the like. And this is one of my favorite interviews we've had so far. I feel like I say that a lot, but just everyone we've had on is so cool. And Gabe Woodrow is one of them. You can find him online. He's got some great music out there. But in the meantime, enjoy our chat with Gabe Woodrow.
Sweet. Hey, all you recovering emo kids, Amanda and Rob here at the Emo Kids Anonymous podcast. And today we are joined by singer-songwriter Gabe Woodrow. Hey, Gabe, how you doing today?
Well, how about yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful. Out of Maryland, right? What part of Maryland are you from?
I'm from a little town called Calora, Maryland. It's basically
Calora,
sandwiched in
Maryland.
between Baltimore and Philadelphia.
Okay, I've probably driven through it on my way from Philly to Baltimore then, which I have done several times
Oh,
in
I'm
my
sure.
life.
Yeah, I live basically right off of 95 on the Susquehanna River.
Yeah. Gosh, I have not heard the name Susquehanna River in so long. You're like tearing at my heartstrings right now.
That's right.
Because I lived in Harrisburg growing up, and yeah, so I miss the East Coast terribly. Kentucky's not the same. So it is great to talk to someone who says Susquehanna River and probably pronounces it correctly. I don't think many people would. Right? Yeah.
I'm so triggered right now. We're just talking about it. First thing, 30 seconds in the pod, you bring up Philly, Gabe. I've been to Maryland one time. I went to Maryland one time, but I was because I'm under the impression, like, when you're along the coast or like Baltimore, all this, like, super cool. I mean, not like the wire stuff, but I'm thinking like, the seafood and this and that. I visited a place called Roarsville, Maryland. Have you heard of this?
Firstville?
It was very inland. Roarsville, it was very inland and very, very, very rednecky. Like, I found Confederate flag tattoos at the liquor store.
Okay, well, that doesn't surprise me. That's kind of about where I'm from. It's very rednecky where I'm from.
Okay.
But I have not heard of Royal.
Hey, there's like a divide. The coast and the cities aren't like that. No, yeah, I don't think this place was that big. I'm not sure.
I have no idea where that is, but where I live is such a small town that country music and classic rock is like all the jam. You know what I mean?
Huh? Yep. I know
We
exactly
will
what
get
you
back
mean.
into that. We'll get back into that in a second, though, because I'm very curious about that. How that that pipeline from country into emo, pop punk, and back into like acoustic music and the like. But in the meantime, sorry, Amanda, this is normally your question, but do you want to give us a little rundown of who the hell Gabe Woodrow is?
Yeah.
What got you into this? Who you are today? What brought you onto Emo Kids Anonymous? Basically, how you fit into our world.
Me? I fit into you guys' world because, man, I've been jamming emo stuff since like the early 2000s. Kind of got into like the more post-hardcore realm pretty early.
Mhm.
And I loved bands like Greeley Estates and Skylit Drive. And,
Coming back. Yeah.
yeah, I did just see a Greeley Estates thing, which I'm pretty pumped on that. Census Fail was really big. Obviously, Taking Back Sunday, the list goes on and on. Early November, the Get Up Kids, Sunny Day.
Yeah, and obviously we have to talk about your early November connection. We'll have to talk about that then
Yeah,
too.
I figured you liked the early November. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of one of my favorite bands of all time.
Of
Pretty
course.
sick.
So how did you get started? So I've done a little bit of research, and I know you used to be a professional motocross racer. Is that correct?
Yep, I
Now,
raced.
my question for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You first.
No. Okay. So I don't know how old you are, Gabe, but were you inspired to do motocross from the Disney Channel original movie in 2001 called Motorcross at all? Because I just gotta know, were you ever were you a fan of that movie? Maybe that's not a pipeline, but I feel like I need to know.
I was absolutely obsessed with that movie because that movie came out when I first got decent at racing moto. So I thought that was so cool to
Amazing.
see like a mainstream movie of something I loved. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to quote that
The
movie
feeling you're
all
like
the
right in
freaking
our
time.
Did you
I can
really?
tell
It's
you're
amazing.
right in our age range, and I remember being like that same age where like yeah, Supercross and shit like that would be on like ESPN and whatnot like all the time. Like it was kind of a lot more. Motocross was very tied in a way at the time with like it was like counterculture adjacent as well. You know, I think individual sports in general are there's that kind of like nonconformity element to it where you're doing your own thing, which I imagine lends into you being a solo artist as well, where it's like
100%.
they grew up on the football team having to deal with 30 other guys. It's me, and it's up to me whether or not I succeed or I fuck up.
That's hilarious. I literally have that same conversation all the time. I was a decent baseball player and stuff, and when I got into motocross, I was like absolutely amazed at how it was all on me and the bike and being extremely fit
Yeah.
and, having to work really hard for it. Not saying that you don't have to do that in baseball and such, but that's such
No,
a
but
team
there's a level of
camaraderie
being able
where,
to
yeah,
you can hide behind people in a sense. Yeah, it doesn't have to
yeah,
be
it's
your fault directly. Everything is on you.
Yeah, motocross is gnarly. It's, extremely demanding. It's very dangerous, and which I love all those things, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was right on my alley. Like the motocross movie
Yeah.
back in the day on Disney was freaking killer. I was absolutely obsessed with that shit.
It was. Of course.
And
Oh, I love
I
it.
am
I love it.
36
I'm
years
glad I could
old.
reference that movie.
I'm 36,
Right there,
so
I
Okay.
knew it.
yeah,
I was like,
that's
I feel
like
like, did you
right on
just
my
turn
So you're
alley.
in
36,
between us.
89 or 88?
88.
88. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
89. Yeah. So I was like, I
So
feel
you're
like you're
right in
right in our,
between us.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That is fantastic. I love that we can make that reference on this show.
Yeah.
You're just surprised the amount of Disney Channel original movies that have came up on this program. Amanda, her letterbox is just straight up 2000 straight to TV Disney movies, and they sound good. They sound good.
Yeah, and they had a lot of extreme sports movies on Disney, so they were big fans of it.
Extreme sports were like back then, yeah.
They were.
Skateboarding, BMX, motocross,
Oh
everything
yeah,
like
it was
that. Fucking
all my favorite
rollerblading was
things.
popping off.
All your
Yeah.
favorite things? So did you ever try your hand at skate? Did you ever try any of those professionally or just the motocross?
No, I started skateboarding when I was kind of young, and I really wasn't the best at it by any means, but I could skate a little bit. And then I got really into BMX at a young age, and when I was around I don't know 14 or 15 was when I started racing motorcycles, and I kind of just ran with it. By the time I was 20 or 21, we traveled a lot and I ended up going pro, after grinding for years and years, traveling and doing all the things. And I took a break from it for a while and mainly just because I got too broke and I couldn't get any opportunities to support it. And it just kind of took the wind out of my sails when I got to the highest level and I couldn't afford to do it. And my dad was like, this is too gnarly of a
expensive
sport, man. It's too expensive. We're just blue collar people, and we don't have that. So
Yeah.
I eventually ended up getting back into it a little bit later in life, and kind of got lucky. It kind of came right back to me. I got my ass in shape and got signed to a team and did the whole thing. So I got to kind of go out my way, which was really cool. I never did get to cut it and make the millions or anything like that, but I was able to make a little bit of money at it for the time that I did do it. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed this correlation? I trained for a while to be like a pro wrestler, and so I was around a lot of these indie wrestlers, and I noticed there was this giant correlation where it's like it's similar to being in a band, specifically in our scene. Yeah, the guys you see on TV, there's the guys in Supercross and the guys in the WWE that are making $1 million, but everyone else, we're essentially much like we're like DIY traveling in a band. You have to print up your own merch. You need to find a way to financially get from town to town. You're essentially like a traveling carny. We're the same thing with motocross. I had a friend. I lived in Canada for high school, and he moved down here to California to Temecula area where motocross is real big, and the same thing where, yeah, like you go professional, but like the cost and the expenses with that, you have to grind, and it has to be like a love of, a labor of love, basically. Would you say that that motocross experience kind of helped you for having to deal with the quote unquote bullshit side of being a musician
I will
and the
say
ins and
that that is
outs?
1000% spot on. But one of the most beautiful things is that motocross prepared me in the exact same way that music would. So all those years of just being broke and then grinding and finding a way and being so resourceful was the exact same thing that I apply today. It's been that way since I started putting music out, the whole nine yards. It's literally no different. It's just a different thing, if you will. The grind is still
Yeah,
the same.
1000%. Yeah, the same
Yeah.
thing. You're grinding. Yeah, it's a different kind of physical toll, this or that. But it's like sometimes the difficult part, like the tough part isn't playing the show and the crowd. The tough part isn't the race. The tough part is the dedication, the practice, the
Yeah.
dealing with the adversity of shit not going your way. Oh, your instrument broke. You need maintenance on your bike. Like shit, like this, that. Yeah, it's a
Literally the
grind. Like
exact same. Like
I had a
you hit that
stepbrother who did
absolutely
it.
perfect. You hit it absolutely perfect because it's literally that
Yeah.
way. And touring, especially, getting outside of a local scene and then diving in and considering yourself a touring musician is one of the hardest fucking things about being a DIY musician. Being able to not make money on the road and sustain it and have a full time job back there when you get back. It's the same thing that I did when I raced. There was a few times during racing where I had quit my job to rely on moto income full time, but pretty much there'd be a time where I would get injured, have surgeries or whatnot, and I would need to go back to work in order to kind of keep funding the dream, if you will. The one cool thing about music is I'm not out here breaking my arms and legs.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You,
Just don't, twirl the guitar around and you'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
fine.
we stopped doing that 20 years ago. Yeah, please
Yeah,
don't
don't do
take
that.
that chance.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
definitely
don't need back surgery.
I try to get after it as much as I possibly can because I love it so much, but it's pretty nice not being injured all the time. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
My stepbrother in Canada was a same thing. Like, that was on team and the like. And I remember one summer, it's like, oh, all these big races coming up. Steven's winning them all. He blew out his kneecap. All the 18-month recovery time. Next year comes along. ACL, MCL on the other leg. And it's like, all right, we'll ride these things for fun. We're not doing the races anymore, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And he had to like transition out and find something that filled that same like adrenaline shit, like filled that same hole, the addiction feeling that you'll get from that. And does music do that for you, kind of thing? Is it filling that? Is it filling that motocross hole?
And this is crazy because this is like everything that I feel in my bones and in my heart. You're speaking to me. It's 1000% the
Yeah.
reason that I turned to music.
I was like, it makes sense.
That's
Yeah,
Robb.
I was like,
Well, it really is. I lost a lot, went through a lot mentally, physically, the whole nine yards when I left motocross. It was very challenging for me. And I spent a long time writing music on the road and to and from tracks in the vans, in the motorhomes, in the cars, in the planes, like the whole nine yards. And I never really got a chance to go out and pour my heart into this, even though I loved it so much from a young age. So, really diving in the last, I'd say 3 years and pushing the boundaries as much as I can to get better and make opportunities for myself and my full band. That's been an absolute blessing. Seriously. It's been really challenging, especially just I do everything myself. And a lot of people they're taken back by that. They're like, you don't have an agent or nothing. And I'm like, no, I just book everything on my
Wow.
own and I handle everything. I handle my own merch, and I have some friends that are super near and dear to me that will step up and jump on a merch table and, it shows and they'll take full control of that stuff. And I trust those people. I have a great friend who's a photographer that lives nearby that she'll jump on the road and go touring and stuff. So it works out.
we got some great show photos. She's great, by the way. Yeah, you got some
Yeah, she does some great work.
content. Yeah. I'm
Hell
like,
yeah,
fuck,
thank
these
you.
shows look
She would
great.
appreciate that. Hopefully she'll get to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like you really nurture your inner circle and keep it pretty tight and pretty close. I mean, how do you maintain that inner circle and all those connections, and just keep that moving? I mean, that obviously that's a lot of work on you mentally to keep all those connections going. But how do you manage all that?
I try to have the best communication possible. I'm really big on that. And yeah, like you said, nurture that stuff. I say it all the time. It shows how grateful I am when people come out, and I truly, absolutely mean it. I just played a festival, a pretty big one last Saturday, all the way up in Connecticut. and had people trek from Maryland to Connecticut to be a part of that. Seeing a ton of my merch there, like
Awesome.
that was beautiful. I mean, I'm kind of speechless to be able to go out of state and see, you know, a bunch of my merch somewhere. It's badass. I don't know how to explain that.
I mean, dude, I'm over here. I mean, obviously the internet's a lot different than traveling from state to state, but I mean, I posted something, whatever it was when we first spoke, or it was like, let me know, like someone that you like to come on the show. And I swear the first person, first comment is just like Gabe Woodrow music. And I'm like, what is this? And I look and see, it's not anyone that lives anywhere near you. So your music is, spreading out. It's getting around. That's got to be sick. And I think there's also benefits to, you keep that circle small. Same thing when like that motocross thing where it's like, you don't have to rely on them. You know what I mean? Like I grew up playing football and I grew up in bands where it's like, we all have to trust each other, but inevitably everyone else kind of lets you down. Amanda here is the one rare exception where I have like a teammate. I'm like, oh, like I don't have to fucking do everything, but you can be on top of that. Plus I imagine financially as well. This is a grind of an industry. Money wise, it's nice to not have to cut that up 5, 6, 7, 8 ways and end up eating cheese ramen every night kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, we
buy your buddy dinner every now and then for doing the merch.
Yeah, I definitely try to take care of things like that. You know, my buddy ended up driving us up to Connecticut, so I paid for, his half of our hotel, and we actually went and caught a show on the night before in New York City. And I paid for like parking and stuff like that. It was so my buddy's band Goalkeeper, they're out of Philadelphia. They actually opened for Captain and Driveway.
Yeah, I know Goalkeeper.
Yeah, they're big homies.
Yeah,
Love
okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm gonna bug Goalkeeper to come on here. I actually literally have them on my list. They're also another band that people are like, we love Goalkeeper. So it's
hell yeah.
There seems to be a lot more because I mean, West Coast, East Coast, things are more spread out here. Things are more tight knit over there. I mean, at first I assumed you were a New Jersey musician because of the the early November connection. I reached, I'm like, oh, Maryland. I'm like,
yeah,
not that far away. You can be a little more tight knit and a little more cities and the like communities can kind of link up a little closer than maybe out here.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I kind of like jumped into the regional touring aspect of it pretty quick. I played some Baltimore shows and some Philadelphia shows, but honestly, I jumped right into like hitting different states pretty fast. I kind of didn't want to be labeled as just like a local guy. I just didn't want that. I wanted to be able to branch out as soon as I put some songs out and just start hitting, stuff within 3-4 hours away. And yeah, I've just been grinding at that. And I hit New York, I think 4 or 5 times this year, just alone.
Awesome.
Wow.
Last year we went to California. I did LA and Fullerton and San Diego and all kinds of stuff.
Where'd you play in LA?
We just played a house show and like it was super sick. It was packed.
So sick.
It was great. I just went out and did solo acoustic.
Was it by
stuff.
chance in Long Beach?
No, to be honest, I don't know where the hell I was. I had a friend out there that swapped me up and did all the driving, and we went to all the shows together. And I had a friend of mine, Matt, from a band called Hodera. They're out of like North Jersey, really awesome band. And we had done a bunch of shows together around Baltimore and things like that. And then we ended up just booking a run of acoustic shows where we could just throw a acoustic on the plane and just go. And so we booked all those, hammered out all those with some local support to help us pack out some of the rooms. It was cool.
Didn't think of that.
Really cool. Yeah. What's your favorite? Is it acoustic or doing a full band? Would you have a preference?
It just depends on the vibe, but I'd say full band is like much more energy driven. It's really cool. I always say this a lot is that even some of my softer songs, when we play them full band, they go hard. The energy gets like pretty intense, more pop punky, I would say. And it just becomes an absolute vibe. Like I'm really big on energy and feeding off of the crowd and stuff. So if people are digging stuff, like, man, I'm wide open.
Yeah. I love it.
Solo acoustic is really cool too. However, it's just like a little bit of a different vibe.
Yeah.
How many shit, like on average, like what would you say the breakdown? How often you're playing just by yourself versus with the band? And is this a situation where you're kind of like it's friends helping you out with the band, or you having to like pay for some hired guns?
I would say that it's probably like 50-50, honestly, as far as like solo acoustic or full band. I enjoy playing often and traveling a lot, so that tends to be just a little easier for me to pack up and go do my own thing. But, me and the full band, we've ripped in different states and we've done some touring stuff too. And Yeah, I've had the same group of guys since day one of getting a full band together, and it's been really, really awesome. Those guys have been by my side, and they've literally been there when we played to pretty much nobody, and now we've gotten a chance to play for some really big bands like Taking Back Sunday, Dashboard, Motion City Soundtrack, Taylor Acorn. We got to play with Early November and Hit the Lights, a Cliff Diver. So we've done some pretty amazing things. We just got done playing with Capstan
That's
and
awesome.
Driveways at Shoreline Summerfest up in Connecticut. So yeah, we've had some amazing opportunities. I don't take that for granted by any means. I always try to make sure I have a full band show at any show that gets offered to me. But sometimes people just want solo acoustic, like whether that be an opener or like the Early November tour that I did. That was really special because it was an acoustic tour.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the coolest
It
experiences I've
was,
ever
yeah, for
had.
them. Yeah. It reminds me of I went to see Hawthorne Heights acoustic Sounds in Black and White and Bike Routes in New Jersey or in New York City because my sister lives there. We saw Bike Routes open for them there. And I know you know who they are because I've seen you wear a t-shirt of Bike Routes on our friend Matt Batisse's Our Space. So I know you know who they are. I know you know their
Yeah.
band.
Yeah. So
But again,
Dave's
he's
my
like just a
homie. Bike
solo
Routes
acoustic,
is
like
like
just
one of my
playing.
favorite. Dave's one of my favorite songwriters.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so good. Agreed. 100%. And it was nice seeing him, play before Hawthorne Heights. That was great. Yeah. But let's take it back. You mentioned early November, and I do want to touch upon that because obviously the connection is not just you getting to, open for them on an acoustic tour, but Ace is actually very instrumental in helping you really get your feet off the ground, I would say. So talk a little bit about that for our listeners who probably aren't familiar with your story and your connection to the early November.
Yeah, so Ace is like one of my favorite people in the music scene, to be 100% honest. He's amazing. I can't speak enough good things about that dude. I played a show in Baltimore quite a while ago. It was a couple years ago now, maybe 3 years ago. And one of the guys that I played with was like a touring fill-in guitar player or whatever. And he was like, "Man, you guys sound like the early November." And I was like, I didn't hear it, but I absolutely loved that comment. It was like one of the coolest things ever.
I hear.
And he had known Ace and kind of put me in touch with him. And I shot him an email and he got back to me and he was extremely kind. He was like, send me some stuff. Like, what are you thinking? Blah, blah, blah. So I shot him some things and we started working together in the studio, his studio up in Jersey. And yeah, like within not that much time, next thing I know, I'm just in the room with him and I'm like, shit, this is incredible.
Yeah.
He's been
That
extremely
has to be
influential in
amazing.
everything that I've been doing. One of the things I love the most about that guy is I can lean on him if I have questions about things, whether it's the business side of things or, just trying to be a little more professional in my own endeavors. I have the
Yeah.
ability to reach out to him and just ask questions. And he's been so kind to just take the time and, help me become more of a true pro in this stuff. He's given me opportunities on the tours that they had. I played in Washington, D.C. and got a chance to open for them guys on tour, which was incredible. And then more recently,
Yeah.
I just shot my shot straight up. I hit him up and I was like, "Hey, I'm
How you do
available
it.
for these dates. I love the solo acoustic stuff and I would love to be a part of them." And he made it happen for me. He gave me a direct support slot to be able to, play just before them every night. And it was absolutely beautiful. I will never forget that for the rest of my life.
That's amazing. Is there any piece of advice Ace has given you through your time working with him that you kind of hold on to in here? Anything, whether it be about professional songwriting, just life in general, anything that he's ever given you that you take to heart?
I would say that he's really big on kindness, which I love about that. He's really big on making sure that, you treat everybody at the venue kind and you give it everything when you're playing. I know that in their circle, give it everything is like a big thing with those guys. And, they tell each other that they love each other. And it's just right up my alley. It speaks
Beautiful.
volumes to me. It's how I am. It's how I'm wired. I'm very passionate. I have a lot of compassion. So whenever I get around him, I'm always just reminded kind of like of myself. And it's just very easy to be in
Yeah.
a room with that guy, to be honest with you. We joke around and we have fun and we laugh and all that stuff. But he's always built me up to go out and crush it. And I was very nervous, to be honest with you, when I went out on that acoustic tour. But then when I got in there and I was like, well, I guess I wouldn't be here if he didn't think I could do it, right? So, but I also feel
So I was
like
gonna
if
say,
I wasn't
were you
nervous,
nervous
I
Don't let
might
about
that
be in the
like?
right
imposter
spot.
syndrome get you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was it
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, or are you nervous about like logistic, like practical stuff, or is it just like, do I belong here kind of thing?
No, it was 100% imposter syndrome, which all of us as musicians go through. He produced a bunch of my music, so he knows my songs. It's not like it's just 100% imposter stuff.
No,
It's
yeah, he
me in my
knows.
own head.
He's heard you in the studio. Like he knows you're good. Like, yeah, this is your guy. It's nice too to hear good stuff about Ace because I as someone that's been like, involved in this scene to varying degrees over the last 20 plus years, Ace Enders is a guy that I'd put right there with like a Andrew McMahon from Something Corporate, where it's like, these are guys that I've never seen a single person say a goddamn bad thing about one time. You know what I mean? Like Ace
I agree.
from Solo to Early November, any other projects, like
Yeah, 100%.
that's the rare instance where you got to meet your hero and like knock on fucking all the wood, but like he ain't gonna let you down.
That's true.
No, it's very true.
Yeah.
And
That's a
one of the
solid dude.
coolest things was, I got to go do that tour, and the night before that acoustic tour, or maybe it was 2 nights or something, I can't exactly remember, but they played in Chicago with Jack's Mannequin with Andrew, and it was massive.
Great, but yeah, great setup.
That show looked absolutely freaking
You can
incredible.
thank your mother and daughter too.
I agree. So, I got to ask and talk to them guys
That's
about
great,
it, and it was so freaking amazing. Like, I saw all the videos, all the pictures, and I'm just like, man, I would kill to play in front of a crowd like that. Like, that's just absolutely amazing. And then when we got done the acoustic tour, the very last night of their side of the run, they got to link back up with Jax again in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And I was like, the hell with that. I'm not going back to work. I'm going to go to Asbury Park and join my friends again. And I did.
That's right.
My fiance and I,
Pony,
we hopped
baby.
in the car and drove straight to Asbury, and we got to catch the Early November with Jax at a, sold out Stone Pony show in Asbury Park. And it was absolutely amazing. It was freaking beautiful.
That is
And
awesome.
I'm just sitting there like, yeah, that's my friends. There's my friends. And like right after the set.
I was a fan, now I'm a friend.
Yeah, man, it's just so sick to see your buddies doing dope shit. Like, I love that so freaking much, And I'm out in the crowd, and 2 seconds after the set, Jeff Cummer comes through, their drummer. Jeff's like freaking amazing. He's been awesome to me. He comes through and just gives me like this huge hug, and I'm like, man, I love this band so much. And honestly, being a part of some of their shows and stuff has made me love that band 10 times more. Seeing how they're just real people that truly care about the scene, truly care about what they're doing. They try really hard to lift everybody up, be a big supporter of the scene, crush it every night, like do their job. I love that. I absolutely love that.
True professionals. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you were highly regarded to us by our dear friend Lisa from Stereotherapy. Lisa's same thing and as us, but Lisa even more so is like a mother hen over our scene and people that are problem, this and that. And she's like, Gabe is great people. He's involved in all these, like everything is just like solid, just had a very good reputation going into this between Lisa and our dear Canadian friend Matt Batiste, where it's like, okay, like, yeah, like Gabe's a cool guy. Let's dive in here. How do you approach differently?
That.
Because no, yeah, they were fans. Yeah. And like, then I found out, I was like, he went on you were on their shows already? Like, you guys didn't tell us about him? I had to find out from some random person on TikTok. God damn it. But how do you approach?
You know what? I'll take it because it's very hard to get, new music out to new listeners.
If anything, it's cooler.
Tough.
Yeah, it's cooler than the listeners. Yeah, it's one thing if we pass, oh, I had this guy, he's nice, but it's like, that was a genuine fan who's like, I want to hear more from Gabe Woodrow.
Yes.
How do you approach like an opening, a support act slot where you're going and you're having to win the other band's fans over? The people might not know you. How do you approach that differently versus a headlining show where maybe the crowd isn't as big as the Early November crowd, but they're maybe there to see you more? Is there a different approach, set list wise, psychologically, performance?
Yeah. One of the cool things that I did on the run with Early November was I played a different set every single night. I did that.
Wow.
I did that because I had some people that I knew were going to come, which was really sick. I had some people in every state that, came out to support me, obviously the Early November as well, but that was very special. So I wanted to try to touch on a couple songs that I, couldn't play all the time. A lot of that being like the EP that I did with Ace called Paint With Your Pain. Those were just raw, stripped down acoustic songs that I took to him, and I really wanted, it's a concept EP, and I really wanted to be able to showcase a lot of those on some of the nights, because I don't get to play them a whole lot. And so every night I would scribble out the set list that I had, redo another one, and then put a song on there that I didn't play one night. I played some new stuff on that run that I had never played before. And on, I think it was in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I played a Taking Back Sunday cover, and
nice.
It went.
What did we play? What did we play? Where did we go with?
I played You're So Last Summer, and it was
Great call.
so sick, man.
That'll
The
win a
crowd
room
was into
over.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they will lose their shit. That's almost a cheat code, bro. Yeah, you pull out Your So Last Summer on the 2000s emo crowd, like they're gonna remember you.
They're gonna like
remember you.
Yeah, they will.
They loved it. You know, they were loud, and that was super sick. But I'll be honest, like right before the show, Ace walked over to my room at this venue, and I was like, "Hey, dude, like I think I might play this Taking Back Sunday song. Like, what do you think? Like, is that okay?" I felt a little like kind of awkward to ask him like to play another band's. I don't know. Again, probably like me in my head. But he was like, "Yeah, do whatever,
Slightly
do whatever you
overthinking,
want,
but
like do what your heart tells you to do or something." And I just felt like it was a cool opportunity to get people singing. It was a seated venue, which was really cool. It was like more intimate.
Yeah.
And man, it was loud. It was very loud when I was playing that song, which was super sick, you know. And I had more of my, I say, hometown crowd at that show than I did any of the other ones. So that was super special.
Who's losing it? I was gonna say they might not realize at first when you're just pumping those chords. Then you had him hit him with the she said don't. Oh, I could imagine seeing the room like over like a 2-second period, like all realizing what it is. Like, oh yeah, that would hit like crack, brother.
Yeah. It did. It was pretty sick, and I made sure to let them sing, especially on like the ending part. If I'm just bad news, you're a liar. You know, we traded off vocals back and forth, and everybody was singing their asses off. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's the kind of crowd you want. So let's talk a little bit about your writing and kind of the evolution, because you said you've kind of been writing from a young age, but obviously motocross kind of took precedent, like that was kind of the most important thing at the time. So how do you feel like once you started getting back into your writing, how do you feel like your writing has evolved since you've really dug in and, really doing this full time? What have you seen change in your writing? Either the style, the way you write, where you're writing, anything like that?
Yeah, what's really cool is, I started writing more post-hardcore music when I was super young, and a lot of it was just lyrically, with the mindset of having other people play, not so much myself, as being like a true front man. And, I helped some local bands, write along the way. I gave other songs to other bands in our area that aren't together anymore. They were just local bands. And I always dabbled in country music.
That's so unique for our scene, I think.
Yeah, it was super sick, man. I dabbled in like some country, and just all over the place. I never tried to limit myself because I just love music. I'm not really stuck to one genre by any means. I've always gravitated towards emo music. It's my favorite thing. So if I write a song and it turns out to be a little heavier, sick. If I write something and it's just like meant to be a stripped down solo acoustic song, sick. I love it all. It's right up my alley. Some of my favorite songs are acoustic songs, and I never really try to put a limit on what I'm doing. I just try to push the envelope and get better. That's 100% the mentality every time. And I'm sure you can probably listen through a bunch of my songs and realize that, songwriting has gotten a little better. The production is better. It's always a learning process, and I don't try to be anybody I'm not, that's for sure. But I do hold myself accountable to get better. I think that when I was racing motocross and just writing, it was more so just like a therapeutic thing to help me. And as I've started to treat this more like a job, now I tend to care a little bit about what's being out on the platforms and what I'm singing back to people, whether that be something that's a song that's near and dear and true to me, or something that's 100%, fictitious, and it's just me trying to get in a creative headspace and bring something to life.
Telling a story.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about to me. I just want to keep getting better. I want to be in a room with good people, and I'm really thankful that it's, gotten that way so far. It's been pretty amazing.
Songwriting
it
wise,
seems
and you
like
mentioned lyrics so hard like that. Are is your songwriting process? Are you starting lyrics first, like you're writing out songs, and then kind of forming melodies around that as well? Or are you playing chords and doing your way, and then filling in the words based on the melody? Because I've really seem to be the two most conventional ways to do it, but I've never considered like a lyric first. Like, I mean, you're talking about writing lyrics for bands and shit like that. At that point, you're not in bands, even, are you? Almost like a poet. Is that kind of what we're still doing?
Yeah, I think the majority of the time it's just that I just sit down and start strumming stuff. And I've learned along the ways that if you have a line or something that just keeps coming back towards you and like you're digging that, you can't leave. You're stuck. You have to run with that and grab the magic while it's there. I think it was John Mayer that talked about that. He speaks of just like strumming stuff on guitar and just mouthing a melody, if you will. You don't really need to be saying anything in particular, but if you have something going, you can't leave. You can't go to dinner with your friends. It doesn't matter. Like you have to capture the magic when it's there and you have to, keep at it. I really do try to breathe life into that. It's crazy. I feel like my best songs that I have currently are the ones I've written in 5 minutes.
Happens.
I don't know why.
How it happens. Yeah.
I have no idea
pops
why.
in.
inspiration. Yeah.
No Rain, No Flowers
to-
with the Great Heights Band.
Yeah. It's great.
That was like one of them. I was going to hang out with my buddy Eric Taft, who is in the Great Heights Band. And he was like, well, what are you working on? And I was like, hey, I wrote this morning. What do you think of this? And he was like, dude, that is a badass song. And all I did was like rip it out on an acoustic guitar. I had intentions of throwing electric on it and the whole 9 yards. And I fumbled around a little bit on electric with it. But acoustically, I was like, dude, this song just feels good. Like it just has such a powerful message because it was me thinking about motocross, in my fields and the sun will rise tomorrow. Like that whole spiel, no rain, no flowers is just something that told me to keep going in that mindset. And I was like, all right, I got to grab this and run with it. And I just jotted. The cool thing was when I actually did go hang out with Eric, I was like, how about you get on this song? Because one of my favorite songs by them is called Above the Water, and it has a very similar message. And if you guys haven't checked that out, highly suggest checking out the Great Heights Band, Above the Water. That is a beautiful song. It's really cool. And so I had Eric take pieces a little bit from that song and then weave them into No Rain, No Flowers. And that's kind of how we ended up getting that. I ended up writing the bridge while we were sitting there. And then boom, we recorded it. Like it just happened. It was so fast.
Are those some of your favorite hangs with your friends? Just working on music?
Fuck yeah, that's like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too hippie woo on here, but I'm not a religious man, but I believe in rock and roll, and I have this weird voodoo, whatever, spiritual weirdo belief that like songs are sometimes given to you. You know what I mean? Like, you ever felt that you're writing a song and it's like, I'm just channeling something here. Like, this is something given to me. I'm just the vessel. Like, it comes to you so quickly. The same, you can labor away on something. Like, I went to fake music school out here in LA, and I remember like I spent 6 months writing. I was writing out, so I was like really focused on this one song, and then like it finished and I recorded this, and I'm like, this is probably the worst song I've ever fucking written in my life. Sucks. Melody's not, it's off, the meter's off, like the whole thing. But then the other songs, like 5 minutes, it'll happen in 5 minutes. It'll come in quick. And even now, like as someone not in a band, it's like, oh shit, I should write that down. Like that happened really quickly. Like, do you subscribe to this possible bullshit theory of mine?
I've written so many bad songs. And to be honest with you, I wrote the annexation of Puerto Rico and held on to it because I thought it was a bad song. I had no idea that it was going to be the best song that I have on Spotify, but it did. It turned out to be the biggest song I have so far, and it still randomly catches fire. I'm like so thankful for that. But I almost shit canned that song, 100%.
Wow,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't.
What made you not do? What made you last minute decide to keep it and not shit can it?
So I had written the chorus while I was in California when I was on that tour. Mainly because I was just homesick as fuck and I couldn't wait to get home and see my dog. And the Where's My Dog, When's My Epiphany lyric I thought was cool. And then when I got back home, I was like, this line is fucking stupid. Straight up. I thought it was dumb. And then I just didn't mess with it for so long.
The coolest ones.
Yo, you're not wrong. I just,
Like country, like yeah. I was thinking about listening to country music. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I would never write that down. I'm like, well, actually, it's pretty sick. Everyone's singing it, like maybe there's something to it. You know what I mean? Like, same thing. Like you get in pot, you start overthinking it. Music, just like it's out there. Like let it happen. Let it fall out of you. Don't fucking think about it.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the first times in my songwriting journey that I was like, stop worrying if things are going to be good or bad and just get them out into the universe and let people decide. Like, let people decide how it makes them feel. Stop worrying about like impressing or blah, blah, blah. And I ended up taking another song that I had started writing, which was the very beginning lyric. I drove past your old house in our hometown. That was a totally separate song, and it was a super chill song. Like it wasn't heavy or anything. And I sang it one time in front of that chorus, and I was like, damn, that's pretty rad. Like I kind of like that. All of a sudden, the goofy chorus that I had sounded much more valuable to my ears and my heart. And I just exploded in my brain of like how I could see a music video, like driving, like literally in my hometown. And man, I'm so glad I didn't pass on that. That would have been so stupid, It definitely taught me a lesson in that moment. Like, stop being so hard on yourself, dude. Just put things out. Like, and I encourage a lot of other bands to do that too, And I've had homies send me stuff and they're like, what do you think of this? I'm like, what does it matter? Like, do you love this?
Yeah.
Go with it.
There's 8 billion people in the world.
The fans will tell you at some point how they feel.
Someone's gonna connect to it, Like, it doesn't matter what I think about, brother. There's like 2 billion people on the planet that don't like the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like, my opinion, it's subjective. Get it out there. It'll find its audience.
Yeah. And the funny thing is like the acoustic EP that I cut with Ace, Paint With Your Pain, doesn't have nearly as many streams as I thought it would. It's still my favorite musical piece that I've ever written. Lyrically, it's deep. It's raw. It's vulnerable as hell to me. It's very sentimental to me. And it's clearly not the most streamed songs that I have, but it's so funny because it's especially Paint With Your Pain and Warpath Part 2. Those 2 songs, people want me to play all the time. They ask for them all the time, which is cool.
Sometimes
it's those kind of songs that aren't necessarily going to be the most streamed. Yeah, that people want. And that's, how it works. And you mentioned that was a concept EP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier when we were talking. Yeah. So what made you want to go that route and make a concept EP? Like, what was fueling that in your mind at the time?
So I had lost a dear friend in our inner circle through a freak accident and just was in the feels straight up. And at the time I was listening to a ton of Hot Mulligan. Like I still do, but I was listening to a shit ton of Hot Mulligan. And they play in goofy, well, I don't say it's goofy, but they play in different tunings all the time, like open chord tunings and things like that. And one of the first times that I swapped another acoustic guitar into an F tuning, I was in love with it. It's a very Midwest emo tune.
I was going to ask you right after, I was going to ask you about tunings as an acoustic artist in this world because of guys like Dashboard and the like. I was like, you've literally read my mind there. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Great.
I've always dabbled in like other tunings like DAGAD and, F, whatever. I've tried a little bit of everything, but I will say that when in that moment, for whatever reason, I cranked out these 3 songs. I played them exactly the same. And that's why it was, designed to be a concept type deal. It's kind of like, a full circle, if you will. It's, you start off in Warpath Part 1, and then you come back and you start in the very beginning. But if you listen to that EP the whole way through, there's no lapse of sound. Ace Enders had merged the songs together to basically
they merged together, yeah.
They never stop. The ambient noise that you hear picks up throughout. And I'll let you can figure that out and digest it however you want lyrically. But I had written the songs exactly the same. And then when I took them into the studio with Ace, he was like, well, how about we try this? Rather than play them identical, why don't we just move around with the chord schemes and then keep it, relatively the same, however, make it much more bigger and beautiful. And I was like, dude, I had to relearn the songs while I was at the studio because I had already been playing them a certain way. And then I had to relearn them before I recorded them, which was really tough for me, like extremely challenging. And kudos to him because I struggled with it 100%. I really did.
Confidence as you're playing it in the studio.
It was really hard, especially in front of him. And he just kept telling me, like, reassuring me, like, dude, you're good. Like, you got this shit. Like, you can do this. And finally, I started to believe it a little bit, and I finally got my shit together a little bit.
I feel like all new emo bands need an Ace Enders.
Yeah.
He's just so supportive and like great.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Shout out to
November
Ace Enders. Yeah, shout out 10.
He knew in that moment what I needed, and I respect him for that. Like, he knew that I was doubting myself,
Sir.
and he knew that I was not terrible at playing or anything like that. He knew I could do it, so he just picked me up and just kind of gave me that, bump. Like, and I've talked about this before, but he took a picture when he was like sitting on the steps of me, and we were setting up the track guitar for that EP, and I was just grinning, just smiling so big, and he took this cool picture of me with all the mics set up in the room. And I don't think I'll ever forget that picture or that moment, because I literally was just sitting there like looking into the ceiling like, dude, I'm recording with one of my favorite musicians of all time.
Right.
Let's freaking go. I was so hyped and just so thankful.
You mentioned, like, we were talking about the tuning stuff. One thing I really noticed when I was listening is like the sounds, and it's everything. Action, the sound of the instruments, the styling, the melodies, and like it's very. I mean, I know I don't know East Coast very well, as we've established. I have a rivalry with the East Coast right now. I know you're more Mid-Atlantic, but like there's that Northeast emo feel to it, where it feels very like early November. Like if Census Failed did like an acoustic record, or Taking Back Sunday, like down to the production, the everything about it, like it sounds like great. Yeah, like just very much from that region. How much of that do you think is just naturally on you? That's the way you write, because that's where you're from and that's where you grew up on. And how much do you think was that possibly Ace's influence and maybe even like technical production techniques?
Oh, gosh, dude, a lot of the acoustic stuff, like when I was like younger, like the Census Fail and stuff, really, really hit home for me. The early November acoustic stuff was some of my
if I
favorite
played
shit.
something, it wouldn't sound like that. Like it feels regional. It's like that's your guys' pocket. Like it sounds like the East Coast to me as a foreigner. Yeah, it's like it's very reminiscent of a lot of those bands. Like that was my biggest takeaway listening, was like this sounds like 2002 fucking New Jersey
bedroom. A lot of my like songwriting stems from those early bands and things too.
Yeah,
it's always like somewhat of a pop punk woven feel, even on some of the heavier like stuff. And I'm not just speaking on my music behalf. Like I've always felt that way. For instance, like Hidden in Plain View. Hidden in Plain View is one of my favorite freaking bands from that scene. Jersey.
First Hidden in Plain View reference on the pod. Wow.
Yeah, dude. And I had the honor of meeting their now drummer, Nick, who is touring with the Dangerous Summer. And Nick ran sound for me last year at Let's Go Music Festival. And him and I like became friends and stuff. And like I hung out with him this year down there. But man, I freaking love that band. Like, love Hidden in Plain View. I've even told him, I'm like, dude, if you got a spot, help a boy out, because I will be there.
Right, yeah.
I will be there in a heartbeat. That catchiness that they have is, very Jersey-like, Philly-like, East Coast type deal. It's like these catchy melodies. A lot of it's not like super intricate guitars or nothing like that. It's just the way it makes you feel. And I try really hard to base my music on that. I don't try to be the flashiest guy or, this gnarly solo person. I'm just not. But I do think when I get in the right
I'm strumming chords and telling stories.
Exactly. I can tell a story through 4, 5, 6 chords, whatever I need. And then I can leave the flashiness up to my boy Eric McCullough, who's in my full band, because he's a fantastic guitar player.
That's your job, baby. Yeah, you rep.
You could go at it. Go do this thing.
Absolutely.
I noticed there's some major pop punk influences across the board. The first thing I noticed, I'm listening, I'm like, there's a Starting Line reference. There's a Newfound Glory reference. What's your personal Mount Rushmore of pop punk bands?
Oh, that's really good, man.
There's 4. I asked someone this before, and then they were like, do I get 5? And then they picked 3. So you got to pick 4. It's the rule.
4 of them, I'm going to go rapid fire. The Starting Line.
Yep.
Newfound Glory.
Great pick.
Hidden in Plain View.
Great pick.
And Early November. That's my rapid fire.
There we go. There we go. Checks out. Regionally checks out.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously there's like a ton of bands that I absolutely love, like some of the older pop punk like Midtown. Fuck, I love Midtown.
Midtown is the band
Gabe
to me.
Get it back together.
Yeah.
Midtown should have been the biggest band in the world, and they weren't. And the universe was still like, Gabe Saporta is destined to be famous, so we'll make him famous with whatever. That dude was going to be famous, like Pete Wentz style. There was no stopping that motherfucker. But it should have been Midtown. It should have been Midtown.
Shout out to them. I still listen to them all the time. And another band that I really love is Valencia. I don't know.
Wow, there we go.
Valencia.
I've seen them so many times over the years. They were so kick-ass.
Is Valencia from over there as well?
Speaking of your favorite bands, I don't know.
I've always assumed they're a California band because Valencia is here, but I guess they could have just picked a city name. I've never really looked into it that deep. Do we know?
That's a good question. Valencia.
They were out of Philly. I don't know if you remember them in Philadelphia or not, but
yes, Philadelphia. Poor Robb. All these East Coast
There's never been so many Philly references. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, come on. You're taunting me at this point.
No.
Amanda.
Yeah. Well, Gabe, so since you're from Maryland, I have to ask, what's your favorite, what do you think is the best band to come out of Maryland? Maybe in let's say in the 2000s, best band to come out of
I know who you're going to say.
Maryland. There's a lot of bands that.
No, you don't. Do you really think, do you think you know?
I think I know. I'm assuming now. I think I know. On the count of three, let's both say it, okay? 3, 2, 1. Have Mercy? There we go. Sick.
Have Mercy.
My boy Ben Mensch Thurlow is their booking agent. Okay. I thought you were gonna say the Dangerous Summer.
That's true. Yeah, we just had him on the show.
Yeah.
You just mentioned them, so I was like, he's gonna say the Dangerous Summer. It's not All Time Low. It's Dangerous Summer.
I love All Time Low and the Dangerous Summer and stuff.
Yeah.
But there is something about Brian Swindle's songwriting that, man, that shit hits home. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, no, big fans of Have Mercy. And yeah.
I mean,
and they're honestly an extremely underrated band, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree. Should be bigger than they are.
I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Not getting enough of the credit due in the scene, for sure.
They are on tour right now with Emery, and I've been seeing some pics and videos, and they're playing some big rooms. So shout out to those guys. I'm proud of them. That's sick.
My boy Ben books for both those. They're filling up them venues. Ben's getting his cut. Mercy's getting their cut. Emery's getting their cut. Like, good job, fellas.
Yeah, Ben was actually the one that reached out to me for the Have Mercy show that I'm playing with those guys.
Shit, really? Oh yeah, yeah. Ben's my boy. He was my first neighbor in Hollywood. We had him on the show like a month or so ago. That's my guy.
He's the one that got me on the Have Mercy show in September for their new record. So I'm pretty pumped.
Love Ben.
Yes.
Pride of New Hampshire.
Good people,
Vermont.
Ben.
I don't know. Yeah, Vermont. Sorry, Ben.
Still up northeast, away from you, Rob.
I don't know. I'm from over here. Everything east of Nevada. It's foreign country to me. I don't know, man. I'm learning. I'm trying. I didn't go to school in this country. I don't know geography. Give me a break.
He is Canadian, so we'll give him a pass.
Yeah, you get a pass.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, Gabe, tell us a little bit about, before we wrap up here, is there any new music on the horizon? Anything that we can be looking forward to? I think you have some tour dates coming up, don't you, as well?
Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of shows. I got a couple in August with a band from Rhode Island called Another One Down. They're good homies. And we're doing a couple shows.
I know them as well. Yeah.
Great dudes. I'm excited to link up with those guys. And then we're doing an album release show, or Have Mercy's album release show in Baltimore, which is really special. I'm assuming that show will probably sell out. And
beautiful.
Yeah, and then I got some stuff in September with Friend Circle, and then I'm going to put together like a really big hometown show, which I've been doing the last couple years in October. It's around my birthday, which will be really sick. It'll be a free show. I'm going to, load up the bill with some great bands and pack it out kind of thing.
We're doing like a little mini fest kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm super pumped on that. Like that show the last couple of years just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm thinking by next year we'll be able to get like a national to come in and jump on it and just surprise the living hell out of everybody in a small town. I think it'll be pretty sick.
That's so. I was gonna say you can call it Woodstock, but I feel like 900 people have probably said that already.
But also I do have I have a bunch of music that I'm holding on to, ones that I cut with Ace, and I probably will be releasing that stuff. I don't have a date in mind yet, but also in November, I will be hitting the studio and finally going towards a record. I'm going to put everything I have into it.
Get a full length.
Yep, that's the goal.
There we go.
Exciting.
That's the goal.
Is this going to Is this
Okay.
going to be in late November or the early November?
Surprisingly, it is the early November.
It was just sitting there like
For the
just wait. I'm
taking.
sorry, it was the
It
worst
was.
job. I
For the
had to
taking.
grab it. It was sitting there. I'm sorry, Gabe. Like, God, it's a terrible way to wrap this
It
up. I'm
was.
sorry, but I had to grab it. Come on,
I
that's
love it.
good. You'll
Me and
enjoy
my
the
full
early November
band,
with the early November.
I'm actually getting ready to start cranking out some demos, and then November will come around and we'll go in there and get hammering away at some of these new songs. We'll probably start to play some of them out in the coming months, which is pretty sick. And then I'm hoping for something around, next year to let it fly,
Great.
if you will. And I got
Wow.
like a little bit of a touring route in plan for, 2026, starting to get its feet off the ground. So as long as I can get my butt in gear and get these songs done and get them out into the world, I'm going to go run around and play the hell out of them and do my best and hopefully get some opportunities thrown my way. That's what I'm hoping anyways.
Well, when that
Excellent.
comes out,
Wait, when's your birthday in October? I gotta know.
October.
Oh my gosh, my daughter's October 7th. That's why I was asking. Okay, I was like, I know. There we go.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cool. You're almost like, yes. Okay, except she'll be 9, so I guess it's not the same thing. But that's very cool that y'all are close. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super freaking
whenever
pumped.
that record comes out, we'd love to have you back on to discuss when the album comes out. Obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
definitely.
Anytime.
We need some
You guys are
updates on
awesome,
that.
and I'm
And
all
yeah,
about it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, Gabe, tell everyone who wants to follow you, where can they find you on all the socials if they're looking for you?
So you can find me, Gabe Woodrow Music, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all those things. Gabe Woodrow on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever anybody streams. Just Gabe Woodrow. I'm there. I'm just a Spotify guy still.
So, and I'm a
Okay.
Spotify gal. I think Robb is it Apple
Yeah,
Music.
I'm an Apple. Yeah, I'm Apple slut. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
can't.
don't like the black and green layout. It upsets my eyes. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I can't stand the red and white one that Apple Music has.
No, it's literally like the
Same.
way
I
I'm like,
need
I
the
don't like the
dark.
way it look. Like it's just like, why is it this? The logo is offset. It's the weirdest shit. It's nice to know that I'm not the only one, but it goes both ways.
Everybody's got their thing,
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I wish they would. I wish they'd help the little guy out a little more. That's
Should-
for damn sure.
Say,
Yeah.
give you a little more money and
Yes,
not give their money
agreed.
to like AI weaponry and shit like that.
I
Yeah,
saw
we can
that.
only ask
That's
so much of
crazy.
the billionaires. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Not like I'm
it's
sure
kind of
Apple money
insane.
ain't going anywhere better. You know.
Yeah, 100%. I try not to worry about that stuff, to be honest with you. Like, I just try to stay in my lane, do my thing,
Nothing you can
control
do.
what I control. And,
Exactly.
I talked to Matt Batiste on his podcast, and, he was explaining, he was like, you're probably doing things like, I guess, quote unquote, the hard way by just like grinding so hard and like not getting like huge on like TikTok or something. But to be honest, I love it. I love playing new towns, new cities in
Yeah.
front of new people because I feel like it's so genuine. It's what I did when I was,
That's how you
a
keep people for a
teenager.
long
I always
time.
went to tons and tons of shows. I traveled to Jersey and Philly as a teenager, seeing all of my favorite bands and Delaware and all that stuff.
Yep.
So, like, I'm just literally doing what I know works. Yeah, it might take
Yeah.
longer to get there in a sense, but at the same time, I'm building genuine connection, and I see it. I see it at the shows.
Cultivating real, yeah. Online stuff can be fleeting. You can have a song go viral, this and that. I mean, we see it all the time where stuff will go viral, do well online, and then these people have shows and nobody comes. There's a difference between getting people to hit like and getting them to actually leave their fucking house and go to your show and buy a t-shirt and yada, 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 what you're doing. And same thing, we interview bands that kind of play both ways, but like, yeah, when you're doing things DIY, you're grinding on the road, people build a real connection with you as opposed to just being one of 700 in the comment section.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Like, I'd much rather build a genuine connection through somebody than I would you just end up hitting a follow button on Instagram and then never once even coming to a show if I'm coming near you. When I traveled out to Ohio, I had a chick drive up from Colorado to come watch me play with Early November.
Okay.
Now, if that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what the hell will. She came in wearing a Gabe Woodrow shirt.
I mean, that's incredible.
It was sick. She actually put together like a string of shows
dedication.
and then stopped in there for one of the shows. And I was like, dude, that's so sick, I don't take that for granted. That was absolutely beautiful.
That is a beautiful moment. And it's just proof that you're building something special here with what you're doing.
That's the game plan.
So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So kudos. Yeah, no problem. But Gabe, thank you so much for being on with us today. This has been a blast. Would love to have you back whenever you have that record coming out and talk more with you. You're welcome back anytime. We love having you.
Doors open.
Yeah, of course. Doors always open.
Thank you, guys.
But for all of you, yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for listening today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on all of our socials at Emo Kids Anonymous. And yeah, go listen to Gabe's music. Go run Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your music. Go listen now.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
All right.
And come to a show.
Yes, please. And come to a show.
Don't
yes,
just stream it.
do
Come to
that.
the show. Buy a T-shirt.
Everyone,
Yeah. Let me
thank
say
you
hi
so
to
much.
you.
Yes, come to the show. That's where the money is made. Thank you guys for watching and listening today, and we'll talk to you all soon.